you've seen a lot of my other videos, or you're just interested in this in general, I'm going to talk about MIDI routing and recording. A lot of times you might have a track that has things like, MIDI effects on it, major chords or arpeggiators or, pitch shifters, all that kind of stuff. And it's generating a lot of stuff, and some of them might be random, and, there's random effects and velocity changes and filtering and all this kind of stuff. And you say to yourself, well, I want to record it. I want to capture the performance. I don't want it to change. I really want to get the notes. Like, for instance, here I have a track which if you've seen my other video about generating keys and harmonies and things like that, it'll be familiar too. So I'll just play it for you real quick. Right, it's a really boring track, but then I have some MIDI effects on it, and I'll turn on the MIDI effect rack here. Right, so you're seeing it modulate this pitch value here, which then feeds into this major chord and a scale here to keep it all within the key. So I get this kind of cool harmonic thing going on. And then I have a set of arpeggiators and shifts and some random stuff going on in here. And it generates that nice little pattern, but I want to capture that. I want to see what are those notes that it's actually generating, because I might want to, edit it. I might want to, double some of the bass parts or see what the chords are really doing. So what I do is I want to bounce the MIDI from there. Bouncing tracks is an old school term, and it basically means, you want to take a bunch of tracks or a track and you want to re-record it somewhere else, either as a group or just re-record it for purposes of doing something to it. So that's what we're going to do here. So below this, we have another MIDI track, and I got the drum tracks and things. I don't worry about those for now. But I have another MIDI track here, and if you look at it, there's sort of a few interesting things going on, just to make life a little bit more fun. Now, the first thing you need to do is, let's see, let's just say hide that. Okay. Now, there is another instrument on here, grand piano. So what's going to happen is this track, I want to get the MIDI information, the notes to play from that other track. So I'm going to go to the routing here, the I/O, and I'm going to say, okay, use this other track, grand piano equal bright production, track 2. That's where I want the input to come from, right? And I want in here to be turned on, right? So what's going to happen is I'm going to hear all the time whatever the MIDI input would be. And that might be, if I was playing it on a keyboard, you'd hear that. But in this case, it's coming from that other track, right? So now when I play, now I've got the glockenspiel on here just so you can hear that there's some different things that's going to both tracks. Oh, and someone's going to beat me up for this. I should have put a limiter on there, right? Oh, quick, get a master, get some... Right, okay, just for all the purists out there, I better do this. I'm freaking out. Limiter. Put a limiter on that master, jeez, what are you thinking? Okay. Back to worrying about other stuff. Okay, so now I've got these two tracks. One which is the MIDI, the source, this grand piano track, and the other one which is the destination, right? And this has its own MIDI instruments on there. It happens to have the grand piano and the glockenspiel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the original track and I'm gonna turn off the MIDI instrument there. Okay, so this track now, track 2, is just generating MIDI notes and no sound of its own. See the meters over here? Nothing's going on. Okay, but its MIDI notes are going to track 3, which has those two instruments on there. Now for the heck of it, what I did over here, I have a keyboard split. So notes below here are going to a piano, and notes above are actually going to a glockenspiel. Just kind of sounds nice. So I like that. Okay, so now how do I record it? Okay, I record enable that track, the secondary one. Let me turn off these things so you don't see those. So I'm gonna have, oh, I guess I better have that. All right. Record is enabled, and I'm gonna turn on recording up here. Ready? And I'm just gonna do it on the next loop just because the heck of it. And you will see Okay. Now on this track here, if I double click there, you'll see I have the actual MIDI notes that were played. And just for the heck of it, I'm gonna like force this to be auto. And I'll even disable that track. So what you're hearing here is only the stuff that we recorded. So if I were to edit it or change something around here, just to prove to you that it's whoops. Oh, envelope on. Shouldn't have done that. Select all. I'll do this. All right, so we can have some fun with that now. Whoops. I always forget which one is this. There we go. Oh, gotta select those notes. Duh. Okay, so now I've bounced the original MIDI information, the live kind of improvised stuff, and turned it into its own MIDI clip in here that I can do whatever I want with. I could even go and say, grab this and bring it over here to, say, a track over there, and just make it a normal clip now. And I could even do things like say, okay, give me a new MIDI track, and I'll put another instrument on there. I'll put a piccolo section. Why? I don't know, because. So we got that piccolo section on there. That stopped playing. I'm gonna drag that, copy it. Whoops, meant to copy it, but who cares? That's kind of really, let's bring it over here and play it in here. Pretty subtle. So anyway, there you see the value of it, right? So I can record MIDI information from one track, bounce it to another track. And this way I can capture those performances as they were really played, so that you freeze them for posterity, for editing, for, they're not going to change, you're not going to lose, you accidentally delete a device and suddenly like, oh my God, the arpeggiation went away. So that's the important part. So always remember, it's in your IO routing here. You just want to get clever. Let's switch this view over here. You can get really clever with taking like MIDI from one track to another track, and there's any number. Like you could have, oh, I want this piccolo, for instance, to listen directly to that original one and force that to be in and force that to be in. And now they're both going to play from the original, and right. There you go. Okay, so use that along with the other stuff, especially my idea tools, the MIDI devices I have, the OSC stuff, all the interactive stuff, and now you have a way of really recording the performance for future use and recording. All right, until next time, this is Eric at LearnMax, and check out my website, www.erasermice.com for my Maxer for Live devices. Show your support by buying some of those. This way you support the web channel, the YouTube channel, and you get some cool devices for as much as you want to spend. All right, until next time, take care. Bye.